Yo, and welcome to the 39th episode of Lake of Rage, a Pokemon trading card game podcast. I am your host, as always, Kevin Clementi, aka Mellow_Magikarp. I'm joined today by two very special temporary guest hosts. Joining us for the 27th time is Nikhil, aka the Gyroscope Eevee.
How's it going, everybody?
And joining us for the 39th time is Grant, aka Boo CK.
Hello, Kevin.
Today, we've got a very special episode for you. We are going to start off with a Grant rant because, of course, we will. Then we're going to talk a little bit about goal setting for the upcoming season. We are only a couple of months away from IRL play returning. At least the announced regionals dates are coming up. So we're going to talk about what are our goals and what are realistic goals to set. And then we'll get into some questions from Twitch chat. As always, we are live on twitch.tv/mellow_Magikarp. So Nikhil, how's your week been?
It's been good. Mello's going to make fun of me, but
Yes.
This is my last week of classes for college. I have a final on Friday, and then I'm actually done, which is nice. And then started taking a little bit more interest in Standard, just because now that the season's going to be coming back in 4 or 5-ish months, I want to actually start practicing before I go to my first regional. That way I just have a little bit more practice in it. So I bought a bunch of cards. If you saw my Twitter post, you'll know that I paid less money for 215 individual cards than it would have cost me to buy 4 Mew VMAX. That is not a joke. It was I think I paid $108 for 215 cards, which includes VMAXs and stuff, and it's $125 I think right now for 4 Mew VMAX. Not even anything. It's just the VMAXs. That's a whole that's a whole thing. So
I mean,
but
fun
yeah,
fact, it's always cheaper to go to the bottom tables.
Yep, that is very true. I mean, if I need Mews, I'm just gonna ask one of you guys or something. I don't know.
Oh, they're in my deck.
Yeah, I'm playing you.
Ow! If Mew's actually worth buying, I'll buy them.
I'm waiting
down
my
the line.
Genesex to come in. I'm
I
ready
might
to
just
go.
buy
I've got my
Genesex
Mew.
though.
Yeah.
I might pick up Genesex because they're 10, and I think Genesex has a lot of versatility compared to Mew.
I don't know.
I don't
I
have
like
have you read
Genesex a lot.
Mew's attack? It's literally
Mew's
the most
kinda broken,
versatile
yeah.
attack.
Mew's attack is literally Genesec's attack as well.
Pretty much, yeah. But Genesex are cheaper, so.
Grant, how's your week been?
Great, working hard. Excited to get back into the game. About a week and a half away from doing some online tournaments.
There was a
my
pause
Unite
there. I
game's
was
been
hoping we were going to
terrible.
learn
Yeah.
something about what you actually do for work.
Oh well, I've talked about it enough. I think we can piece it together on.
Yeah, you have to go
Online
back and
as well.
rewatch
Yeah.
every episode of the podcast, and then you'll figure out what Boo does.
Leave a like, a comment.
Rating.
If you haven't subscribed, please subscribe. Also, if you're on the Twitch stream, you can use your Prime Twitch subscription.
How about Unite? Because I'm going to go into Unite too.
Oh yeah,
So how's that going?
it's definitely getting Well, you guys played in a tournament last weekend, so I'll let you guys speak to that. But we spent a couple nights recently, watching back the footage of the event. I'm not gonna say I'll let you guys say what happened, but definitely learning more. Because now we're at a point where we understand the game well enough that it's more of a point of us understanding individual roles and figuring out how to work together as a team as opposed to individuals. I think that's the next step for us. But I watched them play this weekend, and I'm proud of how well they did. The games they won, they did things really well. So I was proud to see that happen.
Yeah, I'd say the one game where we got just a counter invade strategy presented to us that we were able to adapt and win was pretty impressive. We lost to one of the top teams, but
Actually, the second place team.
that second
Yeah,
place
they got
team,
second in
it
that
was
event.
on stream. It was a little embarrassing to a degree. They specifically called out Mello at one point, which was kind of funny.
Bro, I was
Which
too big.
wasn't-
My plays
I mean,
were
we were
too
already-
big brain for
yeah.
them. It doesn't.
Yeah.
They couldn't understand how good my
We-
plays were.
Yeah, Spraggles couldn't understand Mella's 10,000 IQ attacking Corphish during Zap fight.
I like Spraggles. I think he's branded himself pretty well with the content cowboy stuff. But yeah, I think we came with something new, and they were impressed by it in the second game, so that was kind of cool to see. Either way, but yeah, we're still working on it. At least we have a cohesive unit um, working going forward. I haven't been that great. I think my brain's a little scattered with work winding down for the year, and after that, though, I'm about to go off. We'll talk about it later with the card game here in the upcoming year, and hopefully nothing sets that back. Omicron. So I'm excited to talk about that. But yeah.
Yeah, Unite's been a blast. We've been playing it like we'll start at like 10 o'clock, and then Mel will get on for a couple games like the very end of the night.
Bro, I got to
But
carry
like
the
when we get
squad.
like,
That's our
but when
biggest
we find
issue.
stack, we have a good time. Like we definitely like it's fun to like explore different like ideas and like concepts as a team and like try stuff out because like that's what I love Unite. Unite's just like so cool because like like for me as a Pokemon fan, the characters actually feel like what they'd be as a Pokemon. Like Snorlax is kind of slow, like Pikachu and like Cinderace are like fast and kind of aggressive, stuff like that. So like it's just kind of fun to play that game too because I never would play like a MOBA style game outside of something that like I enjoy already, which is Pokemon. So like I've really been enjoying Unite with the squad.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, just having that's the thing. It's like playing your Pokemon live action. Yeah, it's not a trainer game like Pokemon traditionally, and maybe the Arceus game coming up will be a little more. It sounds like it's going to be more what you think of a Pokemon game, but like having this and like this is what a Pokemon attacking in real world kind of thing is, and this is all our first forays into uh, a MOBA style game. So getting the thing we love, Pokemon, into a new, combat sort of style team game has been a blast and really enjoyed it so far.
I agree. That's one of the best ways to explain part of the love of it is just like it's Pokemon doing Pokemon stuff in like what we all want, which is like, oh, an open world where everyone's going and doing stuff. Like it's not an open world, of course, but like my Snorlax is running around. It speeds up when it gets closer to berries and it gets a smile on its face. Like there's stuff like that is just like
what you'd expect, like and on top of that, it's like it's a very like open game. It's not like one strategy is like the best thing to do. Like there's different routes you can approach each game that like change. Like the invade strategy that you guys got hit with was like super very out of left field, but like you guys adapted to it and like was like, all right, how do we deal with this? Is how we deal with it. Like that's what makes the game so cool. Is like it's so flexible and versatile. Like how you play each game against different opponents.
And it only get more expansive. If they're
Right.
going to keep putting out 3 Pokemon battle pass essentially, eventually and maybe new maps and new items and all that, eventually it'll become a pretty decent game.
And
Right now
like
it
I
seems
mean,
pretty limited. TTV ran the whole first season. Now we're seeing 1 or 2 other teams really contend and almost be better. But the the game seems sort of limited at this point, but people are, as long
but
as
like
people stick with it,
right.
right? I think they're 1 season, 2 seasons away. We get Serena. The update comes tomorrow. It's gonna be 10 hours, which the last time I think that was a full balance reset plus UI fix.
But like that's the best part is that they're constantly like fixing
Yeah.
things and like approaching, and then they're like nerfing and buffing characters to like try and shake up the field as much as they can. Because like now Wigglytuff is like really good, and it was like a little bit worse than Snorlax was like a while ago. But now it's like at the point where it's like, all right, Wigglytuff's like kind of good now.
now Wigglytuff was
And
broken for a while too, though. They had to nerf
Yeah.
that thing super hard.
But like they are nerfing characters. It's not like they're like waiting for like 2-3 months to like actually take like when the Lucario thing was a problem. Like they took action like 3 days later. Like Sylveon they fixed in like 3 days. Like they are listening to the community, which is just something like you really like to see out of a game like this.
It's interesting when we compare like Pokemon products, and to bring it back to TCG, you can't do that with the card game. All they do is the next set immediately counters the last best deck in format.
Yeah.
That's what's been the
Although
trend in Sword and Shield, right?
I gotta point out, because people always say this, and I know that this isn't what you're referring to, Grant, specifically. The amount of people who are like, I'm not going to buy Mew because the deck always gets countered. No, that's not like kind of
This
true,
is-
but not entirely true. Urshifu was not
Yep.
countered by Shadow Rider. Urshifu said, "That's cute. I'm still gonna take
Let
a
me
favored
still
matchup
win."
to
Like,
this." Yeah, like
it's still like
Eternus took out Dragapult, which is fine because Polt's a meme. But otherwise,
like you have to understand the game is it is designed in a way so that new cards are like going to try and take like the precedent in the format because Pokemon will sell more product that way. Like that's just how
Yes.
like they do it. But at the
Right.
same time, you can't be like, well, the BDAF is going to get countered, so I'm not going to play it. There's a reason a deck like Mew VMAX is the best deck in format. It is worth like playing it sometimes because like there's going to be events where there's like 2 people playing Gengar or something, right? And it's like, all right, cool. Let me run the field with my Mew VMAX deck in like these mirror matches that I know how to play, right?
yeah, power creep doesn't have to be a direct counter. I don't know. I'm just like, I think I'm gonna play Mew at Salt Lake. Like it feels so freaking good. Nothing's gonna counter that. Just like speed and power.
Well, we're gonna V-Star. So who knows what happens with that.
We'll see. We've
But
only
yeah.
seen what, a third of the set?
We've seen 4 V stars, right? Zard, Arceus, Leafeon, Glaceon.
Yes. That sounds correct. They
I'm
all
excited
they
for
all
them,
seem like
but-
mediocre enough that I don't think they're gonna like break the format in the way that Mew
Mhm.
did.
Arceus is the one that I'm like, it just seems like the one that's going to have like the big price cap because of how like versatile and good it is. Like, just computer search for 2 cards once a game is like, it's pretty good.
But this set also comes out with all the colorless support, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, that's the big
So
deal. The
you could
colorless
see a
Acerolas.
Togekiss, Blissey, a lot of these decks, Salamence.
Mhm.
I've tried to make that work. Never did.
Oh yeah.
I actually thought about that the other day when I was driving home. I was like, wait, with powerful energy and telescopic sight and that card, like it's
Okay.
just a better than the Cheryl version. Like maybe, and then I just
You could
no.
do some real damage. Though.
Unless we get a
Yeah.
Salamence V Star, then you could be talking.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how that's mixed in. I haven't seen anybody put any decks together yet, and we'll see what happens with. We get a lot of inspiration from Japan, obviously, so we'll see what happens with that. But I still think this meta even is still undeveloped. Like, yeah, Mew is crazy. It's good. It covers in the Twitter thread today was all about how it hits 6 of the 8 boxes of draw support and weakness and hits through things and
Oh,
all
yeah.
of these things. It has pretty much everything, and the big thing was the next set has bench snipe.
Bro, that
And
thing
we're
sucks.
seeing-
I'm calling it right now. Ice Q is not going to go into Mew lists.
I think it's a good, just
No.
easy.
I think the
one
card
up.
that's coming out that's going in is the double turbo energy. I think
Well,
that's the
yeah.
next card that's going in Mew. Like that
Oh,
seems so stupid.
Yeah, of course.
Like that's just like who was like, yeah, let's make this 2 colorless, not a psychic colorless. Like, what the heck?
So you could play weakness card energy, duh. Yeah, it's
I
ridiculous.
wish.
'Cause the fact Japan still has that is like, oof. Although to be fair, they also have the Vikavolt, and I think the Vikavolt deck can compete with Mew pretty well because it's just like a hard-hitting single prizer that's super low maintenance versus like Rapid Strike Mally being pretty high maintenance. That was just what I was playing right before the podcast started. And it's fine.
It's rough.
It's fine, but like, God, the amount that you have to do correctly and then kind of hope. It's fine. It's a fine deck, but like Vikavolt is
I haven't
definitely
gone
seems
back
good.
to look, but I think there's probably some single prize decks that could be accentuated by that. Obviously, the Vikavolt deck has the Charger Bug, power up. But other than that, I like the Cinderace deck. I still think could be something. There's more consistency cards, at least as we're getting more supporters and items. I don't think we've revisited some of the old decks with the new Cramomatic, VIP Battle Pass, like some of these things that are out there, and I think that was at the nascent stages of the Inteleon engine as well. We were trying to force it into Scourge before anyone could really make it work, and then you found out Inteleon engine is
The engine.
the main engine of everything. And on that same note, we haven't seen Jolteon come out yet, so I don't know if we'll ever see what is it, the Heroes Medal or what
Mhm.
whatever the item attached to it could be played in a deck as well to make that engine work to shut down half of your opponents immediately.
Oh, memory
So I
capsule
think
in that one. Yeah.
memory capsule, yeah. So I think there's still a ton of room for this format to be explored that nobody cares about because I think, and we could talk about it later. Or now, I don't care. The Mahomes discussion about the grinders, the tryhards online. I think what you get a lot of online, for the most part, is people taking the list from the day before.
Hey, I feel
Yep.
called out.
I mean,
You
I mean, no, it's not just me, but it's exactly. And it's been interesting, the online scene. All right, here's the controversial mellow thing of like IRL play, which we'll talk about. That is what one of the main things is going to be about today.
Yeah.
We'll get there eventually. But like IRL play, the top people would always tweet out or post very vague things. Like I remember before Oregon, everyone was like, oh, we need some Charge-a-Bugs, we need Vikavolts, we need Grubbins. And it was turned out they were just playing Pidgeotto Control. But it was like this, oh, let's get everyone whipped up in a frenzy. It's like a fun game. The online scene drives me wild because people will do it and they literally will come up with a regular deck with 4 hammers. They're like, meta broken. Me and my friends have been up all night doing this thing. Oh, we broke it. GG's everyone. Suicune with 4 hammers. And it's like,
insane.
yeah.
We're not that far away from hammers being back into it.
I mean, I'm not against hammers, but like the online scene's creativity,
Quote.
even the people who hype it up in the same way that IRL would to just like try and throw everyone off a little bit, don't do it. They're just like, bro, we broke the format. Check this out. Eternatus with Great Balls. And it's like, bro, we've been playing that for a while. Like, your Eternatus list isn't special.
I think the best example of what Mel is talking about was before NEIC 2019. Tord and his whole entire crew just tweeted out pictures of chess.
Oh, that was
like,
a good
they just
one.
tweeted out chess pictures, like chess pieces, and everyone was like, "What in the world are they like?" Because you know that they brought something, and they showed up with that, crazy Zor, Persian, Naganadel, like Olivia. Like they almost played like it was this crazy combo deck that they brought. That I think finished highest as top 16 with Pedro, which like. I mean, like you can't complain about top 16 at the biggest event of the year, but like it was just like so funny. Like I remember everyone on Twitter, like I saw someone tweet out like a Monopoly piece as a meme as response to that. It was just like, but people were so curious like what this chess piece meant, which was cool for sure. That was funny.
Yeah, that's an
Before
interesting
my time.
online metagame is very unexplored, like you said, because it feels like everyone, including myself, I was literally on stream playing the second place list from last night because why would I innovate?
Right.
I'm just going to go copy to clipboard, import deck, play. And it's definitely
There's
just
so
such
much
a different
innovation.
thing. Yes.
I send the lists, and you're like, why would we do that? Like, well, this is a good idea.
I've said it before on the podcast. Boo sent me Relish. This
I
deck sucks. I'm
created
going to try it
Relish.
anyway. Relish is Mewtwo Rillaboom for anyone who has forgotten. It's been a while. This deck sucks. Then I try it. This deck sucks. And then it gets a little more refined, and oh my god, this is one of the best decks I've ever played. So I have to give Grant credit because I was 100% wrong.
Well, I think the thing to think about, and when we were on it, Locke and I were the first ones doing single strike. Like this thing beats every deck. Like how you need to find a deck that counters decks that is relatively consistent that you can just beat in a meta, especially like right now we're in such a top-sided meta. Yeah, there's Jolteon, Urshi, and some of these other decks that are fine, but right now Mew clearly is king.
It's clearly the top heavy part of the
So you need to have a good counter to that and all that. And so I'm looking at the late night standings from last night, and nobody really had success with Urshifu single strike, and I don't know why they call it Umbreon Urshifu.
There's an Umbreon.
Urshifu still, but there's so many other decks, and Jolteon, and so you want to have an Umbreon, or you want to have your Urshifu in there to beat Jolteon easily. But thinking through that, like, you need to have a good spread and figure out a way. The only issue that had was consistency, and it's still the problem.
To this day.
Just insane. Like, even with VIP Pass, and I don't know if what one of the first Grant rants of the impact energy not being usable by the Houndoom.
Oh, that'd be so broken.
It would open
that'd be
up all
too
the other.
broken. No, that's too broken.
I see
Too
why they did
broken.
it.
What does Mew have? Everything.
Mew's still broken, but they were intentionally trying to make Mew very broken. Like,
I also think, I don't know, Mew feels like it's a power level that they didn't quite figure that out. Like, they didn't figure out just how powerful it was.
I don't think they thought it'd be this crazy.
I think the Meloetta technology is pushing it to a new level.
I want on record, I was talking about Meloetta like pre-release weekend.
Same, but I was on it before when it was announced. I don't know if I was on the pod or not, but I can go pull up Discord messages.
Yeah, there's messages
where I was
Grant
saying
and
this thing is
about
disgusting. It can do so much damage, especially with sparkles. You could throw out your energy, and now you're doing massive damage.
I will confirm
with it or with Mew. Yeah,
and I played Deoxys instead.
Interesting.
Nobody listened.
Could use Tower of Darkness. It's broken.
Well, it's just like hilarious to me because like beginning of this format, people were like, "Oh, you got to play like all these different stadiums, and then you got to play like the Oricorio and the Latias, like, and now it's like 4 battle VIP pass, 4 Cramomatic, Meloetta, send it. Let's do this."
To be fair, the 4 different stadiums is still kind of sticking around.
Yeah,
and
but like the concept of like how it's a little bit slower almost. It was like a little bit like, oh, you're gonna like 2-shot other Mews. Like, no. Let me slam 4 energies on the board, throw a power tablet, and kill your Mew with mine.
That's the other thing we're not talking about. Power tablets, disgusting.
Oh
yeah, that's why I love it.
It's a playable whether you need it or not, and then if you need it, like, you just
bro, it's
right.
it's so fun.
Oko numbers.
You play
disgusting.
janky dark decks that are trying to counter Mew on ladder, and you're like, that's cute. A couple power tablets, shuffle back in the deck. Yeah. You just, it's so gross, bro. Okay, Mew is just such a good deck. Let's not talk about Mew too
really
much.
Good.
Yeah. We could keep going, but we should stop.
Yeah, it's just Mew is the BDIF. If you don't play Mew, I don't know, play Mew. That's the moral of this story. I mean, there's other stuff you could play, but play Mew. All right, I want to talk about the main thing though, which is going towards IRL stuff. IRL's coming up. The first regional is Salt Lake City in March something, right?
18th or
something like that. It's like the 20. It's the first weekend of my spring break. I know that.
Okay, so yeah, towards the end of March.
How does that help?
So we're not.
I don't know. That's just how
I don't know your spring break.
You don't know OSU spring break?
You can look it up. You can look it up.
I'm pretty sure it's quicker to look up.
It's
Salt Lake.
18th.
Okay, there we go.
I have it on my. Yeah, there you go.
All right, so March 18th is the first regional. They're coming up pretty darn fast. So we're going to talk about goals for the upcoming season because we're all starting at different points. So I think the 3 of us give a good perspective for any listeners because everyone's going to fall somewhere around one of us, probably. Obviously, there's, everyone's special and unique and going to be a little different, but we're all starting at different places. So what?
For the most part, you're going to fall into like one of 3 categories.
Yeah. So representing the try-hard category, we have the host of the show, Kevin Clementi, aka Mellow_Magikarp, who's vibing with 580 CP, so has the invite and is waiting for the Friday invite threshold. The next step down, we have actually, who would even be the next step down? Let's say Nikhil. Nikhil, who has how much CP?
Like 100 something.
100 something. And this is why we're going to call him the casual competitive player, because he doesn't know how much CP he has. He's not going for a Worlds invite, but he's going to go to regionals. He's going to play, and he's going to beat people who are going for the Worlds invites on enough occasions. And then the other side, we have Grant, who is a new player who has how much CP?
Either 100 or just under it.
Okay, so a little less than 100.
Yeah, I started right before basically everything got shut down.
But correct me if I'm wrong, you are going for your Worlds invite.
I think I should be able to get there.
Okay.
just by showing up.
So, bro, the boldness of this man. I just have to show up and I will get there.
Well, to every event.
His game plan is I'm going to go to every regional and hopefully get there.
Yeah. That'll be the distinguishing quality there.
Money. That's the distinguishing quality there.
So we're gonna share all of our goals and kind of like a little bit of a background of why we've chosen some of these goals for the upcoming season. And Nikhil, do you want to start us off as the filthy casual of the group?
I'd say I'm the filthy casual because I'm very broke. And I mean, I just have to be smart with like how I spend my money. And so like if Worlds was in the US, I would have gone for my invite. Like I would push for it. But because London is such a stretch for me to like actually go to, it's just like I'd rather just go to some regionals, have some fun, see some homies and hang out and stuff like that. But one thing I want to do is I want to win a League Cup again. I haven't done it in a long time, and I haven't done it since Lost Thunder, I think. So I would like to win another League Cup. Granted, it is kind of hard to do in Ohio because we're kind of like surrounded by a lot of good players, and a lot of good players live in Ohio. So it is definitely like something that I want to work towards. But I think through COVID and through like the time with the team and like meeting better players and getting better myself, I think I'm at the point where it's more like a realistic goal. And then I also want to get points at a regional. Whether that be day twoing a regional or not, I don't know. But I want to like fall into the point, like I want to go like 6-3 at a regional and get points or something. Day twoing would be a bonus, but realistically, I want to this season just get points. And then I think other than that, I want to like not me, but I want one of us to top 8, like other than Azul. Because that's going to happen. Like Azul will top 8 something this season. It's like we can't get hard carried by just Azul. Like I want to see a KDR person like day 2 top 8. Some even like if you get wiped in top 8, like I'd be proud as hell to see, or heck, to see to see a squad member do that well. Yeah, those are my kind of goals this year.
Seems like pretty realistic goals of someone who knows how to play the game, has played the game for a while.
Yeah, this is my 12th year playing now, so
bro, what? Why aren't you better?
I stopped playing for like 2 seasons. The seasons that I think honestly,
your
the
2-year
seasons that I
gap.
think, the seasons that mattered the most, I think, were the seasons that I stopped playing. I don't think I've said this before, but I genuinely think that if you're aging up from seniors to masters, the last 2 seasons of your senior time are the most important because that's when you either can get really good. Because I'm going to break this to you. Juniors and seniors get increasingly better as they get older because you get smarter as you get older. Like that's just like usually how it works. You'd be shocked. Like there are obviously like juniors that come into seniors, like Kaya, who was very good as a junior and came into seniors very well. But like there were seniors that were only good the last year of seniors because they just knew things that like first year seniors didn't. Because it's a 4-year age gap. Like that is something you have to consider. Like you're like a 14-year-old playing like sometimes 9-year-olds.
I mean, that is a massive gap. Is that actually?
It is a big, yeah. 14 is the year you age up to masters, and 10 is the year you age up to. You can be 10.
16
So
is
it's
the
like,
year you age up to masters, or 15.
No, I aged
15,
up to
16. It's definitely
It was
different now
14.
then.
And then it must have changed because I aged up
Yeah.
freshman year of high school, which I was 14 for.
My thought process on that was like it's a good time, like especially right now, all these good seniors are gonna have to go to college at some point and not be able to go to events.
Or
Actually,
the opposite.
They get to go to more.
Right. Oh, it's
Yeah,
just scary.
it's one or the
Think
other.
about it, like we'll have to wait to see how it turns out. We've got a literal 2-year gap to figure out how things have changed,
So I'm excited to see. So Grant, you as the newer player, what are your goals for this upcoming season?
Yeah, so when I got into the game, it was after Henry won Worlds, and I just started going to basically only like challenges and maybe a local Monday night, whatever. And got some points, and then I was going to travel and try and get the Worlds invite. But the same thing that Evie's saying, like London's a tough one, right? It's going to be much more expensive. It's worth it. It's Worlds. But this whole break has given me more perspective. Like, might as well still try. The same things have applied. So I have, let's say 100 points CP, which is fine. But I have, as an adult and a full-time job, the capability and ability to go to every event. And so all I need to do is, hit a few day twos and get those points, which isn't tough. And it also is, getting to travel and do things and have fun.
Yeah.
The whole reason of getting back into Pokemon was I played Pokemon card game as a kid, then went to school, didn't get to play it anymore. So now I'm able to do it, and I'm buying, like, I've got the Mew cards already. I've got both the Urshifu decks. I've got the Ice Rider. I've got Shadow. I'm buying the cards every time, so I've got a full complement of cards to play. And so I'm really just excited to go out there and try. Still, I'm not good. I'm still learning, obviously. I would think I'm a better deck theorist than builder or player. But yeah, I'm looking forward to going, at least already queued up to go to Salt Lake City. And I think if you just show up with the best deck, you can win enough, hopefully.
Yes.
Yeah.
And be on top of that. That will be also an interesting topic, as we talked about earlier a little bit. A new set will drop, and having the ability to get the cards and the flexibility to do what's needed to play what should just be most successful. Not trying to win anything, not trying to top 8 like you'd like me to see, like you'd see me do, which is a possibility, obviously. We've made some deep runs in the online tournaments earlier on. But yeah, I think it's just being fortunate enough to have the opportunity to be able to go to these events and to show up and hopefully turn a few results out of it to get the points. If you don't, it's not the end of the world, because again, London, the trip's expensive. Got to make sure your passport's up to date. Little things that some people might not think about. I would, if you have your worlds and you're planning for worlds, make sure your passport's up to date, or
And
you have
that's
one
not a
at
last
least.
minute thing either. That's important.
Yeah, that's very important to think about. Just a little hint, and yeah, just having access to cards and having money to be able to do these things is I'm very blessed.
Yeah,
And
off of the point you made about perspective, the episode with Rahul also mentioned this. I think Azul's also mentioned this before, but I mean, anyone ranging from the people that were at the top of their game, the top 16 chasers, all the way down to people that, were just starting out their invite grind. You definitely gain perspective on the whole situation throughout COVID, because you kind of take a step back and we're like Rahul was like, wow, like I was like really not sleeping, like living, like I was not being healthy because of this. But then there's also people that are like, wow, like I can actually maybe make my invite. Like I didn't think I could, but now I'm at a point where I think I can. So just like, it's definitely interesting to see us coming out of like this 2-year break, basically,
Yeah.
of not having events. And now there's going to, like, I mean, the tables have like turned for sure. There's definitely a lot of good players that need like recognition and respect coming back into these events. And then we also have seen players stop playing. There's top level players that we won't see play as much anymore because they've either moved on or they've stopped playing, something like that. So the field is not the same as it used to be, but it's definitely not taking away from the fact that like it's still the same challenge that all of us want to accomplish, which is getting that invite to the World Championships, because that's a pretty prestigious thing. Like people don't realize, like, being someone invited to the World Championships deserves some recognition, because it's not easy whatsoever.
Well, and the other thing that this COVID break's given us is our own team here, that we have discussions all the time talking about, deck lists and like I've worked a lot with Locke, and as far as like coaching and stuff like that, like just giving me different, better perspective on the game, which wouldn't have happened if it just gone straight through. Like we've come together, like deck building and theorizing and things like that. we wouldn't have had that. So this is, clearly not a blessing. People have died and things like that. I'm not going to say anything like that, but it has. If there's a takeaway from a global pandemic, it has been to be able to take a step back and look at the game and get better at it.
I think not just your game, but like also in like a bigger term, like your life. Like it definitely changes the way you look at like what you were doing before this. Like definitely let everyone slow down a little bit and really take a step back and be like, some people change their careers, some people change their lives around, their style, the way they live, and obviously you don't want to be thankful for something like this, but it definitely having the opportunity to take a step back and look at yourself and evaluate like where you are is it's very important as a player too. Like there's this thing that'll happen. I've seen it happen to players where they have a really hot season. They do super well, and the very next season they just bomb cup after cup and challenge and regional, and it's important to take that step back and evaluate and be like, I did great last season, but sometimes the cards just don't fall into your favor, and you have to be aware of that, because I've seen players get like really upset at the fact that they're not like at 520 points the first 2 months like they were the season before. I've seen that happen, and players burn themselves out very fast doing that. That's just something important to remember too.
It might be a perspective thing, because it's happened to me, at least in the card game early on. Like, you bring a new deck, maybe the first time it doesn't go great, and then you run a few great results, like 3 top 8s in a row, like Relish, for example, and then you play it again, it's like it doesn't work. Same with singles, like, because you play it too much, you get in your own head about it. Like the step back, either way, whether it's this or that, like sometimes you need to take a step back. Same with Unite right now. I've played so many games, but I've
Right.
gotten worse. Seemingly
I
worse
mean, I wasn't
playing
gonna
too
say
much.
that, but
Well, it's not. It's clearly evident as we were doing film review. You think too much, or you get too cocky, or there's a plethora of reasons why it doesn't work. Sometimes you need that break, and I think, like you're saying, people grind too hard and you don't see it, and you fall into a bad habit. Maybe expectations.
Mm-hmm.
yeah, and since we're on the goal setting episode, it's important to go off of that and mention, while we are mentioning, what are our goals, etc. Some of the unhappiest people I see at Pokemon tournaments are the people who are saying, I have to earn my Worlds invite and lose a round of a League Cup, or maybe have a poor regional showing for whatever reason. And
Yeah.
sometimes you have to say, like, I'm at a regional for fun with Pokemon as a like way to do that. It's not I have to earn points or everything's terrible. Or else that's when
like,
you kind of have to step back sometimes and be like, ooh, maybe I don't want the pressure of earning an invite, let alone the pressure of what you're going to do to yourself at Worlds, trying to figure out, what am I going to play? How am I going to play it? What am I going to do? What am I going to, all this other stuff that you're going to get in your
at
head.
Worlds. But NAIC is in June and Worlds is in August. So you got like a month of time before that, and you have to be like I know top 16 players take like a week or 2 off in that time period of just no Pokemon, because they spent, I mean, literally 9 months almost of their year like hard thinking about Pokemon constantly, and they're just like, I want a break. And then they take a break, and then they come back refreshed, they prepare for Worlds, and then they end up doing really, really well.
I mean, Azul took 2-3 weeks off moving and came back and
Went on a
without
tear.
playing, and went on an absolute tear.
Like absolute tear in the format. Like,
so it's very possible, and that's just a mental health thing too. Like, you get too deep into something, your vision gets clouded. It doesn't matter what it is. That's why I'm excited. I'm almost done with work for the year. Excited to get all that out, because it clouds your mind too much. You're so deep in something, and there are other things that you need to be doing. Card game, Unite, family, I guess.
Eh,
Yeah, I guess
they're
maybe. I
around.
don't know. Mello, what's your plan here? What are your goals?
So my goals are kind of up in the air right now, which is why I wanted you two to start us off, because they haven't announced. So the current world structure is Thursday invite 500 CP for North America, something else for the rest of the world. I don't live there, so sorry, I don't know it off the top of my head. Then Friday is going to be some other number, and you earn an auto invite to Friday. And people who do well on Thursday make it to Friday. And then Saturday is people who do well on Friday, or you did well Thursday and then again on Friday. And then Sunday is the, top finals.
Yeah.
The current plan is hopefully the number that they say for Friday is achievable. Because
what would that number be? Like, what would the cap for that be? Like, would like 800 be too unrealistic for you? You think?
That's where I'm in such an awkward spot now, because one of my coworkers, who has both been like a mentor to me and also I work ridiculously closely with every day, was like, hey, my retirement party is on this weekend. And it turned out to be the weekend of NAIC, which is great. She 100% gets priority over NAIC in Pokemon. Like, I can't say no to that, right? And it's like, well, that is a lot of CP I cannot earn. So with that, I think 800 would have been achievable. But without that, I think 700 is my number of like, I'm going to push for a Friday invite, maybe book a flight to another regional I wouldn't have booked or something like that. So yeah, that's the number for me. But I think 800 would have been the number with NAIC as an option, because I have some league cups that I can improve on, like some top 8s in there. Literally every league challenge I can improve on. I'm the worst league challenge player in the history of the world. But I think with my invite and with the fact that I can't do NAIC, the odds are my goals are going to be very much individual. I want to top cut a regional. And I'm more likely to high roll a tournament now than I ever was. Because like Grant was saying, this is the best advice in the world. If you just play the best deck, you do well. My very first regional, I played Zorogarb before Zorogarb was a deck. Shout out to Isaiah Williams, who was coaching me, who was like, here you go. And I'm like, okay, cool. Then he brought Zero Control, which was actually the best deck in that tournament.
Yeah,
but
they weren't going to give you the best deck, but
it was really close. That I literally won so many games just because Bursting Balloon on Garbotoxin, Bursting Balloon on Garbotoxin, Riotous for 210 beat like everything in the format. I misplayed so much. I can go back and think about a handful of those games where it's like, I shouldn't have won most of those. And just the power of that. And I ended up 68th place, something like that. Top 128 points, just bubbling out of top 64 points. Just because the deck was really good and I wasn't.
And that's like generally a fact. Is like, if you're competent enough at the game, playing the best deck or one of the best decks in format, it'll get you far. Like, it'll do you well. Like, if you're now, that's not saying like if you're a brand new player, I'm just gonna pick up Mew VMAX and run with this. Like, you do need to have some level of competency in the game and like understanding of the format. But like, if you know what you're doing to an extent, you can definitely just pick up like, all right, let's play Mew VMAX and then do well. Because a lot of times that's how a lot of players do, top 32s.
I won my first event that I went to. I picked up Pikarom, and that was Pikarom with Coco and Zeraora, and that was Let Loose Marshadow. I played 2 of them, and
you let loose your opponent out of the game
and ran through it.
I mean, like the League Cup, one of the League Cups I won, I literally just played Zoroark Control because it was like, all right, this deck is pretty good. I know my control decks pretty well, and I know the meta, and I won because I knew the deck well enough. Or like, I've seen people literally go, okay, this is Cosmic Eclipse format. Roxy Chomp seems good. Let me play this, and then ran the League Cup with it because Roxy Chomp was just a really good deck. Like, and they had enough level of competency to like do. I mean, like, it's just how it always ends up going. It's like good decks will do well for the most part.
And then I was going to add something to that. Oh, if you are someone who likes to play rogue decks, that's fine. But this is very important because this is another like point of stress that I hear from a lot of people. They're like, oh, this was testing really well. I want a league challenge with it. Why did I go 2-4 drop at this regional? If you like to play bad decks, that's okay. Acknowledge that bad decks do bad. And then you will save yourself a ton of pressure. That way you don't come complain to me. Why did my completely jank deck go 1-5 drop? Because it's bad. You don't have to play the BDIF. That is not necessary, although I think that is one of the best ways to do it. But just acknowledge sometimes you're like, this deck's bad. I'm going to try to do well, and it's okay if I don't.
Yeah, I can't remember. We played Homemade Biscuit in the team challenge in like the round of 16 or something. And we're like, he's going to bring something crazy. It was like Green's Senna Scorch or something, ended up being something good, but it had a bunch of twists, and it's like, we just destroyed him.
Yeah.
Like, it's a good idea, and it had like techs in it, and it was a really clever deck. Was like you just get run over by. We all just played our main, top 4 meta decks essentially.
I mean, yeah, that's what I remember. I did that. Like, I remember for one of our team challenges, I was like, let me play this Tempozard list. Funny enough, it was only because I didn't really know what to play, and Anya had put a copy paste list of Tempozard somewhere in the Discord, and I was like, good enough for me. And I submitted Anya's list that Anya just put in the Discord for no reason, and I beat all 3 of my opponents on the day because Tempozard was really good, and I'm competent enough to do well with it. But
That was
yeah.
a fun deck.
Oh, that was such a fun deck. That was one of the decks in the tag team format that I really enjoyed playing. That was fun.
Yeah.
Looking back, do we still hate tag teams?
No. I never hated
I
tag
like
teams,
it. Yeah,
to be fair.
I like it.
I don't hate
I
them.
missed it.
They're not as in 12 years. There's definitely mechanics I've enjoyed more, but I don't think tag teams were as painful as they felt. It was just it was very boring because we had them for so long.
I'm just upset. Like I tried so hard. Obviously I made Relish work, but I was like, I really want to make Pipstoice work, and
Yeah.
just could the tag call engine's there, and by the end of it, in Sword and Shield
Yeah.
block, and just couldn't ever figure out because it was just.
But there were fun tag team decks like Welder Mewtwo, Relish. Those decks were a blast to play.
Well, I was trying to figure out a way like Misty and Lorelei to reuse the GX attack.
Oh, that's awful.
So you could paralyze again.
Yeah. The tag call.
But by that point, everyone's playing Force Switch, and it never.
I know
worked.
Mello loves the tag call engine, and I love it
That's
too. And I gained a bigger appreciation for it after Slap and Pandage introduced me to EX and 06 format, which is Holland format. And anyone that's played that format knows that the Holland's engine is super super cool. It's super well designed. It's very similar in my mind to a tag call engine. It just has more than tag call did. And I think that was just a really cool thing to do. Being able to search for your attackers, being able to search for a draw supporter, healing, search stuff. It was just a really, really well designed engine, I think.
It's like Octillery.
Yeah.
Right now.
Rapid Strike Artillery.
All right, so we're just getting some questions from Twitch chat. We have quite a few, actually.
Oh, man.
We'll start with Slapjacks13 asks, if you had to eat one legendary mythical Pokemon, which one would it be?
Legendary mythical? It'd be Celebi because it's an onion.
That's what I thought earlier too, right? I can't think of another legendary mythical that looks tasty. Maybe Galarian Zapdos, I guess.
Not mythical.
It's legendary though.
Oh, I thought it was he was saying specifically a mythical. Yeah, I'd still probably just do that. I can't think of anything else.
I don't know the delineation between legendary or mythical.
Cresselia, hello. All right, those that are not watching in Twitch chat, Slapjacks just said Cresselia is the thing he would eat because it's a moon chicken.
I mean, Mew seems like a marshmallow. Seems delicious.
What animal is a
weird.
marshmallow? What? When have you ever? It's like looking at a sheep and being like, "I'm pretty sure that's a marshmallow. I'm gonna eat that."
All right, I'll eat double. I don't know what's what, because back in my day it was Mew and Mewtwo and the 3 birds, right?
Bro, why are you so old?
I know.
You both are so old.
Stellar Wish Gaming asks, what's your favorite Ed Sheeran song?
Own It. He's a feature with Stormzy. That is my favorite Ed Sheeran song.
I don't know, but when he was on the last time he was on SNL, I thought he was pretty good. I don't know the names of his songs. I don't listen to the radios.
I don't know either. I know I like Ed Sheeran songs, but I don't know any of them off the top of my head.
My mom was on an Ed Sheeran tear for 6 months, so I listened to the Divide album every day in I think 9th grade for 6 months straight. I hate that album now.
Mama's boy, Ed Sheeran simp.
Yep.
Keep that quote in mind as we do our pod later.
Oh, right. Man.
Next question.
Perza TV asks, what is the best deck in the format and why is it Suicune Ludicolo?
That's a funny way of pronouncing Mew VMAX, buddy.
Yeah.
Yeah. it's
mean,
it's Mew. Suicune's like fine. It's like
Sweet.
fine.
Yeah, it still seems okay, but like now everyone knows how to play it and Mew exists, so
Yeah, and Mew is an unfavored matchup. The amount of people who keep like, I beat them on ladder, like if Mew doesn't fill the Echoing Horn is cool. Someone played an Echoing Horn in addition to the Fan of
nice.
Waves in their Suicune deck,
Cool.
and they were able to beat some Mews. That might be the technology Suicune needs to make it a closer matchup. But even then, I think if you go second and you don't get the turn 1 Blizzard Rondo, I think it's still a bad matchup.
Yeah. I mean, I still picked up my Suicunes for like $5 with this order I did, just because like
it's a good card.
Like it's a good card. I mean, the Entei and the Raikou do like almost the same thing. Those cards, no doubt, I think will also have some merit to them. Now, how much they will have compared to Suicune is a question because they don't have Melanie. Which is
they do.
Why wouldn't they have Melanie?
It's colorless still in the attack.
But you can't Melanie to cover the first. You can't attach a capture and Melanie the same way you can with Suicune.
Drizzle for energy search. GG's. Well played.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
No, we can play cat box, right? And then it's broken. You have all 3 types. You have fire, lightning, water. You have Melanie
I'd
still.
Play both of those. Like I'd play a Suicune or an Entei and a Raikou with Suicune. That'd be cool.
See, that's just the deck. Professor Poke asks, what, in all of your opinions, is needed to optimize Mew Meloetta?
The word optimal is the stupidest word ever used in Pokemon because you can't optimize a list because it constantly changes. That's like just how it works. If you say this is the optimal list, and then 2 days later you're like, wait, I'm gonna cut 1 battle VIP pass for a Switch. Like now it's optimal. Like what did that do?
What card do you need? Supercharger, maybe?
Supercharge.
The card that like brings back power tablets.
Yeah, you need some.
The one that is
you need something to bring back
a tournament with an Urshifu.
People are like, why are you playing Electro Charger? It doesn't do anything.
Fun fact, in that original Pikarom list, I played 1 Electro Charger.
Oh gosh.
I built the list down to 56 cards. I'm like, well, second March.
My original Mew Pikarom list. I played Mewtwo and Pikarom, and I put an Empress GX in there, so you can use its first attack to bring all 40 powers back.
Yeah. I was like, well, all I need is basically maybe 1 E power back to knock out a Zoroark. So I'll throw in E-Charger.
I think the answer to this one is we need people to just go to the lab with Mew and play it. And that's not going to happen anytime soon. So what is needed to optimize time and effort, most importantly. And I don't think those are there yet.
Not right now.
We'll work on it over Christmas.
Yeah, got you.
Holiday break.
Bob McDougall asks, why is Hoopa Moltres underplayed? It seems very good versus most of the top decks. I got this one. I love this deck. It's hard to play. Like, when you're not playing against Mew, it's actually pretty hard to like chain everything and do everything because it's a fairly underwhelming deck overall. Number 2,
outside of Mew,
it doesn't actually have that many good matchups. Like, the single strike matchup's good. The Suicune matchup, if you play a Scrapper or Jammer, is good. Not like great, but it's like good. Mew is a good matchup, but Jolteon and Urshifu are miserable matchups. Like, I can't even pretend that those are anywhere near fine. And that's why it's not seen in more play. It's difficult to play for a reward that's just not that good.
I still love Moltres in a bunch of decks. The Hoopa seems pretty good. But yeah, exactly what Mello said. There's so many better decks that are so much more efficient and easier to pull off what you're trying
and
to
have
do.
a better spread overall.
Yeah, Mike says it right there. It's still not even that good against Mew. I mean,
I was going to reply to this in chat, but nothing is actually good against Mew.
Yeah, it's still not that good. That's the problem.
Especially now with Meloetta, where you can just, if you play 2 of them, they can't boss. It's really hard for single prize decks to boss, and Mew is suddenly a single prize deck.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, cool, I'm going to force you to take a bunch of knockouts you don't want, and Yeah, it is still a favored matchup. Like if I'm playing Mute, I don't want to play against that deck. But yeah, it's not. It just doesn't have a good matchup spread, is the reason why. Although I like it. I might play it this Saturday in the cash tournament. Because it seems fun.
No leaks.
I will happily leak because I don't actually care. Like I care, but I don't.
Yeah.
Yeah. Trey No Y asks, how do you budget for an event? Great question. Boo is a billionaire.
budget.
So yeah, I don't know what he
No
does.
I I don't know. I just kind of consider it. It's the same thing as like budgeting for a trip. Like when my brother and I went to Seattle, we looked at prices of things even before we confirmed we were going there. We're like, okay, how much is the hotel going to cost? Okay, how often are we going to have to like eat at a restaurant? Like how much are they going to generally cost, right? Um, and in general, if I'm not buying too many cards, that's not something I'm concerned about. Like the price of the event is also something I don't like really concern myself with. Usually trying to get a room with people, like try and split a hotel room or Airbnb instead of like trying to solo a hotel room, unless you're Boo and you have $1 billion. Um, um, I mean, usually you can get a hotel pretty close to the convention center, wherever the event is. It's pretty common to do that. Sometimes they're like next to a hotel. So other than that, my advice for someone in my situation, so college students, um, not just budgeting events, but budget your season. So like think very hard about like which events you're going to go to because like I really want to go to Salt Lake because I know a lot of these guys are going to Salt Lake and I'd love to see them and hang out with them. But at the same time, I don't know how financially viable that is because that includes a flight, a hotel, a flight back, food there, stuff like that. Whereas like Indianapolis, I'm just gonna ask some friends from Ohio, like, hey, can I drive with you there? Hey, can I split a room with you there? Which is a lot cheaper than, a $200 flight there and back. Let's say, I mean, that's cheap. So
Yeah, to add on to that, from the adult perspective of full-time job / bills to pay, I literally have in my budget of like expenses is Pokemon stuff. And it's a pretty good chunk because that includes new sets dropping and regionals and cups and all that stuff. So I literally budget it into my like for fun money that I plan to spend as far as like, all right, you know what? Some months I go under, some months I go a little over, but it tends to average out pretty effectively. So like I said, I literally budget for Pokemon.
I don't have a consistent enough income to do that.
Yeah, I guess the main thing is don't spend what you can't afford. Like if you can't do it, it sucks. You can try and find a way. Like Evie said, get a ride, find somebody who's going there. The last regional before was Collinsville, right? Did I get that right?
Yes.
That I was able to go to, and I knew a bunch of people from my city were driving down there. I'd still fly, but I knew a bunch of people were driving down there. So you can find a ride to someplace, split rooms, and if you have to eat McDonald's or get in a hotel with continental breakfast or little things like that. It's not that hard. Bring food from home. You can easy stuff, beef jerky. I don't know, but it's really not hard to live on a budget or work really hard and have money to spend on frivolous things like Pokemon tournaments.
And then on top of that, something that I've learned, I am very careful with the vendors. It is very easy to spend a lot of money at the vendors because they have a lot of cool stuff. So generally what I do is if I feel like if I do kind of well and I want to like treat myself, I get like one thing, like $20 max, let's something like that, right? But like NAIC, because it's like that's the cheapest event for me. But like let's say your cheapest event would be Indianapolis for me. Like that's my next cheapest event. Um, that's where I'd get like if I want to splurge a little bit on like a couple things, do that. But like don't go buying a bunch of booster boxes because they have them. If you're trying to budget, or don't go trying to buy like 400 cards from the vendors right then and there. It's just like it's not worth it. And then also like if you do well and you get like let's say half a case of boxes, maybe consider selling them, because booster boxes are all like above $100 right now. So like you could easily make like $300 off half a case of packs if you win that. Like it is something you have to keep in mind, is sometimes cracking your pricing isn't always the best idea.
For some reason, Viv boxes are still 140.
I mean, I don't even want to talk about losing prizing because what was that? Bro, what was the set with the full art? Cosmic Eclipse? I won those in Portland and San Diego. And I ran over to the vendors, got $60 a pop, and those things were.
Oh no!
Yeah, I was so happy too. I'm like, yo, my flight is paid for, my hotel's paid for. Like, I'm at a wash on this trip between the prize money and this, or I earned money, which is really hype, right? I'm like, I earned money playing Pokemon. This is dope. If I just held on to those boxes, they literally would have gone 5 times up in value.
Alt art ADP.
I mean, there's no way of predicting that, obviously, and like in the moment, it definitely felt good to like make some money on the trip. But
yeah, it depends on your financial situation. Of is the $60 necessary for you, or is sitting on the box maybe a decent idea?
I know, like Natalie and Mahone have like said this before. Like I know Mahone like has sold his regional trophies when he started playing. He needed to hustle to make money. Like once, I remember hearing like one of them sold a box just to get a ride home. That's
like, what I was gonna say. Maybe you need to sell your prizing to get home.
To get home, like it is something you have to consider, because if you win $500 at a regional, that money doesn't drop for a while. Like you have to know that it takes a bit for Pokemon to get you that money. So just keep in mind that you might have that number on your credit card statement or something to get yourself home.
And keep in mind your age, because you might have to pay taxes on it.
Yes, that is a fun. They send you the 1099 or whatever the.
Yeah, so enjoy.
Like, oh,
you or your parents, so enjoy that.
And then, most importantly, fellow adults, if you do win prize money and have to file your taxes, the TurboTax free edition now suddenly costs money because the free edition doesn't cover the forms that they send out. So that's fun.
Every state you win pricing in.
Yeah.
So
surprise.
Depending on how successful you are, you might need to hire an accountant as well, because is your time worth it when you're trying to travel and get your Worlds invite?
I'm really lucky because my dad's in finance, so like he's been making me file taxes like myself for a while now. So I'm like already starting to learn to do that, but I know the pain. I've heard the pain before from some friends that are like, I have to file taxes on my top 8 money. What is this nonsense?
I think that's why I'm your best dad.
Yeah.
Sandy Beach asks, what keeps you coming back to play the Pokemon TCG? Friendship, competition. I like Magikarp and other
Pokemon themselves. Yeah,
I'm a little bit too deep in it, like with how much I've spent on cards at this point.
Bro, the sunk cost fallacy. Don't encourage that.
I'm just kidding.
Sunken cost. Sunken cost.
Definitely the community and the friends. Like, I mean, like these. I'm really excited to go to regionals to like meet the team in person, because I've met 3 of them now. Like during COVID, I met Mello, I met Doom, and I met Azul. And it's like, it's just so cool to like actually like know people like as a team that have been playing together for almost 2 years now. Like that blows my mind. Like that in August of next year, it'll be 2 years. So like that always will keep me coming back. I really enjoy the game. I think Pokemon is really fun. I've tried other trading card games, but I don't enjoy them to the same amount I do Pokemon. I like how the game is formatted, and it's just like, it's my childhood, and it's just like really fun to keep doing, keep myself busy. That's something that like I've always wanted to do, is like stay busy with a hobby, and Pokemon just like a really good one.
Yeah, being new to the game, I think coin flips is my favorite part because it's the ultimate equalizer.
Sure.
Yeah, that's shout out to the old article about the coin flips.
Yeah, for me, I think one of the biggest reasons why I keep coming back is, at this point, a lot of the community that I know in Seattle, I grew up in Arizona and I moved up here, it's been a while now. A lot of the community of people that I have in my life are from Pokemon. So it's like, it's not the sunk cost fallacy. I'm not Eevee where I can't leave. But like, why would I want to when this is what everyone I like is already doing anyway? And I get to meet all these other new people. So yeah, that's
like me.
No. Smadget asks, I never know how to say their name. Has Unite changed much since the first DLC characters were announced? Which, God, that was a while ago. I burned out hard and I want to see if I should come back.
Even if you don't like ranked grind, it's just like really fun to play. Like, you know, it's a 10-minute game. Like all the time I'll come back from class and I'll be like, let me play one game. And I'll play one game and it's enjoyable because once like if you like really get into the game, it's really enjoyable to know what you're doing. And then like the competition of the game and like the challenge of the game is really cool. But it is definitely like Gengar's not nearly as broken. The game is a little bit more understood. Characters are a little bit more refined, stuff like that. It just keeps growing as it goes on.
Yeah, overall, it's pretty much still the same game.
The difference
There's a
is
lot more
people know
nuances.
what's happening now.
Yeah.
Because I remember
hashed
originally
out.
it was like, oh, Zapdos is broken. And I
Yeah.
feel like, I mean, people still say that when they don't know what's happening. But people know what's happening now, so it's less of an issue.
And yeah, you before, like, you'd get into a solo queue and you'd lose Zapdos, and it's like, we still win this game. It's like, no, just concede. It's like, now at least maybe 3 out of 5 people understand it, and so you can still win games, even though solo queue's still, a crapshoot overall, for the most part. But it's still fun. I mean, we're still playing it, all of us. So
That's true. And I don't have time to play video games usually. Like I'll play this TCG, but the fact I commit this much time to Unite, I think it's so much fun.
I was playing earlier trying to learn Pikachu because I've been so bad, right? Trying to figure out some way to contribute to the team. And so I was playing standard, and 2 of the 5 people quit in the middle of the game. And I kept pushing concede, and one of the 3 people still playing said no. So that was kind of frustrating. So you go through some of that. Like, you have to play the full 10 minutes when you know you've lost, no matter what. You can't win a 3-on-5. But
Challenge accepted.
But like Evie said, it's a short game.
Accepted.
So 10-minute games are nice.
DA Askew asks, what are your thoughts on Aggron getting its own V and V Max? I have a strong feeling this was towards me because I don't like Aggron. And I don't want it. Give a more fun Pokemon V and V Max, like, I don't know, Corvus. Give Fish Bra V Max. There we go.
Have I seen this card? I don't think I have.
I think there was an idea because I was memeing on how much I hate Aggron the other day. It's just like, it looks like a little kid wanted to make a cool looking Pokemon, and it just turned out to be a giant meme.
Is it supposed to be like
Why is that so true?
Is it like a metal armadillo or something?
Yeah.
And then but it's a stage 2.
Yeah. I mean, Aeron's really cool. I love Aeron. I remember getting it when I first played through whatever game it was in and being like, this thing's adorable. And then when it evolved up, I'm not into this thing anymore at all.
Aggron's cool. It's all right. I think Tyranitar did what it was trying to do better. Be like the big scary kaiju kind of monster. It was like the original one, but Aggron's he's there. He's vibing.
Yeah, we don't have to sugarcoat it. Pokemon's had some real winners and also had a ton of whiffs as far as Pokemon go.
Shout out to the biggest winner, Buzzwole.
Oh yeah,
Buzzwole's such a good design.
Oh, good. They made a mosquito cool, bro. I hate mosquitoes, but Buzzwole's like top 10 favorite Pokemon for me.
Buzzwole.
I'm not going to say anything because I don't want to get canceled.
Do you see those biceps?
It's a bug.
Hey,
Bugs don't have muscles.
Mello has it. Mello and I have the same like laying down Buzzwole plush. I have mine upstairs somewhere.
Oh, my sitting cutie? Heck yeah. I love that thing. It's so adorable.
I love that Buzzwole. It's so sick.
Don't get me wrong. I didn't play during the Buzzwole era, but I did play Buzzwole Pheromosa. And I love that card.
Yeah. Oh, the alt art of that card is so good, bro.
Oh yeah.
And this is the perfect. Buzzwole's literally just Gaston. And Gaston is the hero of Beauty and the Beast. You have to love Gaston if you see it.
Are we gonna sing Gaston?
I would, except I don't know the words.
We'll do that. We'll do that at a regional. We'll do Gaston karaoke.
Oh, can we, bro? Let's get a K box at the next regional. Just a whole bunch of us doing karaoke.
my roommate in law school was an entomology major, so I have kind of worked with bugs for 3 years.
That's so much fun, bro. I love bugs.
It's
If-
very
Team
interesting.
just pings
We'd
me
go
at
out.
night, says, "Where are you? We need a
Yeah.
5-stack." So I get bugged all the time.
We'd go out and catch bugs all the time. Insects, technically. The
And that's where
technical term.
Pokemon came from.
That's true. They love what is it? The praying mantises? Mantids in Japan? They like breed them to fight each other.
Well, that's like where Pokemon came from. Is
Yeah.
the creator of
They
Pokemon
have beetles
loved
as well.
collecting
Yeah.
bugs. Like,
That's a good
that was
point.
what he loved
That's
as
a
a
good
kid.
point. I take it back. Buzzmosa's all right.
That's what Pheromosa is, right?
Yes.
Yeah. See, bro, there's your Buzzmosa. We're
Yeah.
perfect.
I like the simp. Pheromosa simp. All right, next question. Or are we done?
Last question. Senior
Alright.
Doom asks, would a new energy acceleration card similar to Welder or Melanie help to balance decks?
No.
No.
I think we're good. I think we're actually really good, and people forget that beat exists.
No, we remember Beat exists.
Do you?
Turbo Patch. What do you mean bead?
And,
Turbo Patch.
yeah, and Burbo Patch. Yeah.
No. The issue with like Energy Excel that's type specific is it just only benefits that type usually. Like obviously there's like the Welder helped Mewtwo, but Mewtwo Welder was a fire deck, okay? Like it played Reshazard, it played enough fire attackers, like it played that Turtonator at one point. So like yes, it will benefit a deck, but like our fighting deck right now, like look at our fighting and dark deck single strike, it has its own energy acceleration. You don't gain much by giving it another card that like doesn't draw it multiple like a bunch of cards, you know, like I'd much rather just research and set up my board than drawing 3. Like you got to consider like Melanie is playing a how. So like the effect of the attack of the supporter besides the draw 3 has to be really good, which Welder and Melanie are. But like I can't think of a type that like would see a lot more play if we had like Welder 2 grass energy, right? Like that might be broken, but who knows, you know?
No, we already have Rillaboom. Why would you need Welder?
Exactly. Everything's got something.
That's what I'm thinking of, right? Like everything does. It's just like which ones are better. Like Rillaboom is. I love Rillaboom. I love Delmai's
Still-
Rillaboom. It's
Still there.
It's not good. But yeah, no,
You
I don't
you
think
got the stadium.
the turf field. Okay, you Peony
Turf field?
for the
It's
you play a
gold.
turf field. Peony for rare candy, evolution incense, candy Rillaboom, turf field for Beedrill, elusive master, draw 3 cards. GG's.
Here you go.
I love it so much.
Simple as that.
Brain just exploded. That was the most 10,000 IQ concept I've ever heard you say.
Bro, I played that on stream all the time last format.
Yeah. What needs?
That's where the Bee Oni meme came from. Was my chat where I played the Beedrill Peony engine.
I would do
Shout
the
out to
opposite.
Slap
I
for
would
that. The ultimate
I would
content
do-
chimp.
I would do lantern for mustard. I don't know how to get rid of your hand though.
You just don't have it.
Don't make me think about this because I will. I've got to work tomorrow.
Anyway,
All right.
yeah, so I don't think it balances anything necessarily because it just makes something good. And if the energy acceleration's so good, it just makes another deck better than other decks. So I don't think it balances anything. It's just like, here's another good deck that is better than some of these bad decks, and then those decks become worse, and that deck
Can't
becomes
think
better.
of a time in recent time that like we haven't had good energy acceleration because like until DCE rotated, so much basically got energy acceleration for playing DCE. Shout out to the episode with Alex and Wames. Go back and watch it because they go into a very long tear about why DCE is just absolutely ridiculous. Very worth the listen. But because DCE was so good for so long, like then we got like Welder, but like even during the Welder era, a lot of decks had like decent energy acceleration. So like I'm trying to think of like a time frame where like there was not enough energy acceleration and what it looks like. But generally speaking, a lot of engines have consistent energy acceleration because that's like such a key part of the game. Is like a good deck will either be energy efficient or have energy acceleration in some form.
Yeah. People complain about Reshiram and Zekrom. It's like you had ends resolve the whole time. What are you complaining about?
Bro,
You have welder and so
shout out to Blaine, who I don't know if he's listening, but you know, he listens to some episodes. Finals of a League Cup. I've told this story. It always gets me. Finals of a League Cup. He's playing ADP Keldeo. He goes first game 1, ends resolve, 0 energies. Turn 2, ends resolve, 0 energies. He scoops.
Oh my god.
Game
what
2,
did Stack
ends resolve, 0 energies, and he just scoops the whole cup. It was
didn't
so
Stack
good.
play Hat Ladies and hit 0 energy off of Hat Ladies once?
Oh, he
I
might
think that's-
have.
He definitely
he's played it.
Stack's
He's played it enough.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nikhil, where can the
I
people
remember-
find you if they want more of you?
Twitter, NK0HLI, coming in 2022, twitch.tv/BooCK for our new daily Pokemon talk show. It won't be as long or as informative as the Lake of Rage, so keep listening to it. Mello has done a great job. It's almost 8 months. In 10 days, we will have been this podcast for 8 months, which blows my mind. So obviously keep listening to this, but Boo and I will be trying to do a daily talk show discussing Pokemon and the likes.
Grant, where can the people find you?
At RealBooCK on Twitter. It's all one word. And like Nikhil said, we got a new project coming out. We're looking for a potential third chair producer type. So if you've got any interest in joining, this will be roughly an hour-ish every day in the morning, just talking about the new, like 30, it doesn't matter.
Bro, an
And
hour
the
a
time-
day?
Yeah,
Cap
30
an hour.
30 to an hour. Yeah, just a rough news debriefing on what's going on. There's been so much drama, obviously, every day. We'll be the first ones to hit the shuffle discussion. We'll be talking about, any topic that pops up, and it'll be unfiltered-ish. You'll get the full opinion coming from me. Nikhil will basically be putting together the agenda and his opinion, and we'll see what my take on it is, as I've been right 3 times on this podcast before, as far as calling out the PTCGL delay. Bryson and Bilba Man. Is that right? Bryson Man and Bilba.
Or Sabrina and Bryson, man.
Whatever they are. And another one. Either way, we've been right here a lot. Just like Nikhil said earlier, there's other things that come from this podcast, but this is the podcast. There'll be a daily show. We'll have callers, and it'll be a really good time.
I don't even know what to say to that. Make sure to find me Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at mellow_Magikarp. Remember to rate and review the show if you're in iTunes. Send it to a friend if you're anywhere, I guess. And if you made it this far, thank you. You rock. This has been another episode of the Lake of Rage podcast. Catch you all next week.